just come to a very early end to day 4 of the Undercover Policing Inquiry Tranche 2, Phase 2. We've been listening to the evidence of Kaden Blake, who is the older sister of Matthew Rayner, the real Matthew Rayner, whose identity was stolen by HN1, the undercover police officer who used the name Matt Rayner. I'm joined with Paul Gravett, who was one of the activists who HN1 spied on. It's been incredibly moving this morning. Kaden Blake gave an incredible testimony. It was incredibly emotional. I was really struck by the fact that she rejected the police's apology as worthless, which I think she's completely right about. She really painted a picture of who Matthew Rayner was, the real Matthew Rayner, and her disgust with the way in which HM1 abused him. What did you think?
Yeah, she was very... it was emotional and sensitive. You really got a feeling of how the trauma... Well, firstly, her brother Matthew's big illness, getting seriously ill, and the impact that had on them all, and being ill for, I think it was a couple of years, and then obviously dying, and things like, or particularly her father brought him home from the hospital, and to die at home, and then she's recently drawn a painting of that, of her father holding Matthew, the baby, or very young, and it showed that on the screen, so it was very, very powerful and moving indeed. And that's before you get to what the police did.
Yeah, I mean, it just we had this before with Frank Bennett. During the last phase of hearings, the human impact that it has on people who, there's a lot of discourse from the cops about deserving victims. Somehow, us being political activists, we somehow deserve to be spied on or whatever. But there's no question that the families of the dead children, we're not involved in anything. In order, the way in which I think Kaden Blake was really good at kind of poking into what was the emotional state of these police officers going through all these dead children's identity. How could they be so callous? What the hell is wrong with these people? Which I think is a question all of us who followed this keep coming back to. It's like, how can you be such a ghoul?
Because she, as she said, he went through HM1, who stole the name, went through a list of names, and found a list of children who died, and the so-called back office had a look, the managers, to help select what they thought was the correct one. So it is ghoulish in the extreme. Ghoulish, really is. And a lot of these officers had young children of their own. What was going through their minds? It's incredible, really, very incredible how they did that. Yeah, and HM1, this deciding on the name Matthew Edward Rayner, and it says he took a trip to visit the house or the area he was born in, which was Sheffield. I obviously knew him. I had no idea. I was aware he'd said to somebody or me that he was from Shropshire, or he'd lived in Shropshire. But the first record I had of him, he'd actually put Matt Rayner Salisbury. So there was also associated with that part of the country too. And Sheffield came as a bit of a surprise, knowing that,
Yeah, I mean, this is something we've heard time and again from undercover officers. It wasn't just that they took the name and the birth date. It was also that they went to the place where the child was born and grown up, took elements, like claimed to have gone to the same the school they would have gone to, sketched out an idea of the kind of work they would go into. We were shown like the internal document that related to HN1's identity, cover identity, and it included the information about the grandparents and their jobs and their maiden names, information that wasn't readily available from the birth certificate or the death certificate or anything from that, which shows that there was an extra layer of research that was taking place on behalf of HN1 in order to fill out his identity, which, by definition would, it's a gross intrusion into the lives of the grieving family. There was also a thing about when he was arrested. There was an arrest of HM1 whilst disrupting a grouse shoot in North Yorkshire. Now, North Yorkshire was the county in which the family of the real Matthew Rayner still lived. It was basically just down the road from the family, which shows that there was no real concern for the safeguarding of the family in any shape or form. They simply didn't give a fuck about them. It was appalling. Is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, you're right. What you're just saying about no concern for the family, because he would have known. I went on that grouse shoot Sab and was there when he was arrested, and obviously we had an idea known where he was going, and on those sort of things, there's always a risk of getting arrested. I mean, it didn't just from memory, I remember it well. It didn't just happen to him. He sort of, if you could put it that way, invited it by getting out, and there was a sort of a melee of people with the police, which he got involved in. So he knew he was putting himself at risk of arrest, and the area and everything where it was. And there was also something. Kaden Blake was raised as well about how he HM1 was one of the spies that enjoyed socialising and always wanted to celebrate his birthday. So he was actually, I did it several times. People, enjoyed going out and have the pub for a drink with him on his birthday, and it was the celebrating the birthday of a child who died at age 4. 20 years or so earlier, which is so ghoulish and inhuman. But yeah, HM1 loved, that's the one thing you can say about him, he loved socialising and loved his parties.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything left really, but apart from to pay tribute to Kaden Blake. She was a fantastic witness. She carried herself with dignity. The way that she was asked so many times how she felt about what must be one of the most devastating things to have happened in her life, and has defined her life because it happened to her so young, was incredible. It was good to see that her partner was there to support her. I hope she's okay. It was an incredibly difficult thing. We're back again tomorrow. We've got the evidence of HN122. He used the cover name Neil Richardson. He infiltrated Class War, the Fed and the Org, and was part of the split around that. He also infiltrated the Revolutionary Communist Party, who are a fairly unpleasant organisation, went on to become Living Marxism, went on to become Spiked, including like Sir Claire Fox, who became bloody Brexit Party, and Reform Party Baroness or something now, isn't she? Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if he's got any connection with that. We'll find out tomorrow. Starts again at 10 a.m. I'll do a Twitter Spaces this evening. It won't be that long. Like this hasn't been that long, but join us there if you can. Thanks for joining. Anything else you want to add before we go?
Well, thank you for asking me to speak, Tom. It's been a pleasure doing this with you. It's the first time, and I'm sure there'll be a few more before fate with all the spies that are coming up who I knew, like Bob Lambert, Andy Coles and John Dines, who should be here but isn't. But I'm really looking forward to when Rayner appears in January.
I really think we shouldn't call him Rayner. HM1. Yeah. I mean, I think it's important that.
Well, you knew him as long as I did as Rayner. It's difficult, Tom.
Sure. Yeah. No, I accept the difficulty of it, and I think we all do it. But particularly after just seeing the real family, I think respect for them. It's HM1. He wasn't good enough to lace the boots of the real Matthew Rayner.
No. And we should know his real name as well. That should have been released. He had a deceived female activist, Denise Fuller, into an intimate relationship, and we should know his name, but missing won't do it for some reason.
It's a disgrace. I mean, Mick had previously said that any undercover officer who deceived a woman into a sexual relationship would be named. That was a lie. I don't know why he's protecting HM1, but there's clearly some reason. Hopefully we'll get to that.
And then I wouldn't have made that unfortunate mistake that Tom corrected, because, like with, say, for the case of Bob Lambert, we use his real name, not Bob Robinson, the identity of the child who he stole. Obviously, you use the real name, but we can't do that with HN1.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right, cheers, guys. We're here all week. We're here all month. We're here all year. We're here next year. See you again tomorrow. Cheers.